All right, so we in here. I'm the Shock Exchange, of course, and this is Trump and the GE. And this is Trump and the GE. Baltimore Key Bridge could trigger war between Trump and Westmore. We're asking people to subscribe to the channel, like, and share the videos. Don't just steal our content. Subscribe to the channel. So I'm sure people have been aware that over the past week or so, President Trump has deployed the National Guard to Washington, D.C., and they federalized Washington, D.C. And so the police department in D.C. now reports to the National Guard and the DOJ. And he's trying to bring down crime. He's vowed to bring down crime and bring down the and they're destroying homeless encampments. And they also vowed to remove a lot of urban blight that visitors see and tourists see when they come to DC. And he's saying that DC is one of the most, I think it's like considered like the fourth most dangerous, fourth most crime-ridden city in the country. And he compared crime rates in DC to those are third world countries. He said this is embarrassing. He's going to bring it down. He's also called out other cities: Baltimore, New York, Chicago, L.A., Oakland, and Governor Westmore, Maryland Governor Westmore, took exception to those comments. And he said the city of Baltimore, in particular, has done a great job of bringing down crime rates. And so there's been some back and forth between him and the president. I'm going to share my screen. So there's been a T-to-T between him and the president. So this could shape up for, could be the makings of more back and forth between him and between President Trump and the governor of Maryland. So here goes. Real articulate about nothing. About nothing.
The governor of Maryland. I watched him this morning saying that the governor of Maryland, yeah, they say maybe he'll be a president. He's not presidential timber at all.
Well, the president has made an effort to single me out and single Baltimore out on multiple occasions.
A message that Maryland Governor Westmore took to major cable news networks on Tuesday and Wednesday. The comments that Trump reacted to on Thursday included this one.
You know, the way policing actually works is making sure that you can have a police force that moves with appropriate intensity and absolute integrity and full accountability and works in partnership with the people, with the communities, that they are building relationships with people in communities. Frankly, that's not what military personnel are trained for.
At the White House, Trump responded.
But I heard him today talking about how the National Guard or the military is not trained in police, but they're trained in common sense, and they're trained in not allowing people to burn down buildings and bomb buildings and shoot people and all of the things.
As a war of words rages nationally between President Donald Trump and Maryland.
Oh, so this is, I mean, Maryland governor coming out against Trump saying he would not allow the National Guard to Maryland. It's clearly a shot across the bow. He wants national attention, and he's gotten it. Trump he threw out a trial balloon of maybe national federalizing Baltimore, but he doesn't have the power to do it. It's clear that he needs the mayor and the governor's permission to bring the National Guard into Baltimore. That's clear. So there's no need for Governor Westmore to speak out on that. Why would he speak out on that? He can't federalize Baltimore without the governor's permission, but he can federalize D.C. because D.C. is a federal city. That's the nuance. Says no need for the governor to speak on it, but he spoke up on it. It's a clear shot across the bow. He wants national attention. He wants to raise his national profile, and he has. And you hear President Trump say people are floating this idea that he could be a presidential candidate, but he's not presidential tender, according to Trump. So there's going to be more war words between the president and mayors in these urban areas, and some of these cities are having funding problems already. They're having, it costs a lot of money to fund more police. It's difficult to bring crime down without more police. A lot of times they preside over some of the most marginalized people in the country, who don't have resources and not supported by the government, like these big corporations have been supported by the government and by the Federal Reserve over the past decade. All the money printing has escaped some people, particularly ones, the low-income people in these urban areas like D.C. and Baltimore, Chicago, so on and so forth. So these mayors have a tough job to do, to manage a city for everybody, to get funding for the schools, like this, if they have a funding problem in Chicago, and get more funding for police. Well, Trump has federal resources, unlimited resources. So he's backed by the federal government. So that's the nuance. But that being said, Governor Westmore also talked about the falling crime rates in Baltimore. He shot back at the president, and that Baltimore should be extolled, and some of the other cities should be extolled for the fact that crime rates are falling. That being said, this may not be the end of the T between President Trump and the Governor Westmore, or even the mayor of Baltimore. I think. So anyway, tonight there was a cargo explosion, and a cargo ship exploded in the Baltimore harbor. So we don't know all the details yet. Nobody's been. I don't think there've been any injuries, but the governor's looking into it. But it does raise issues. It does bring back memories of the cargo ship that crashed into the Baltimore Key Bridge back in 2024, and there were questions about whether the ship was properly maintained, who was at fault for it. For major issue like that, where the I guess propulsion system or something went awry, or they couldn't control it. They couldn't control the ship as it ran out of control, ran right into the bridge at high speed and made the bridge collapse. But it caused major economic damage to the city of Baltimore, the state of Maryland, and also to probably several mid-Atlantic states, because at that point, all maritime shipments through the Baltimore port of Baltimore, stopped. Then it caused supply chain disruptions. It also caused created more costs for certain companies who wanted to ship through, who were normally shipping through that port. And when we did a show on that, and we talked about, we thought it would be a black swan event because it could hurt the economy, and it probably likely did hurt the economy pretty badly. I had forgotten all about it, except that when you look at the cargo ship explosion tonight, you see the Key Bridge is still collapsed. It hasn't been repaired, and the mayor of Baltimore, the governor of Maryland at the time, promised to get that bridge up and going with all Godspeed, and they needed federal resources to do it, which is obvious, because it's really a national problem, because it affects people outside of, just not Baltimore, people outside of Baltimore as well, because of how important that port is. So that being said, they're going to need federal funding. Just so happens that the collapse happened in 2024. Joe Biden is no longer the president. Donald Trump is the president. So at some point, Trump could make it an issue, depending on the results of this cargo ship tonight. This cargo ship explosion tonight. If there's any fault, anybody at fault, whether it's issue with the ship, the captain, or maybe even whether the ship is properly maintained, which could have implications for regulators in the state of Maryland or in that port. And at some point, the governor and the governor of Maryland and the mayor of Baltimore will have to go to Trump, to the president, hat in hand, begging for money to rebuild that bridge and restore the bridge, that Key Bridge, which is an important port for Baltimore and for the country, for a lot of those mid-Atlantic states, I'm sure. So the back and forth between the president and Governor Moore probably just started, and it could devolve into an all-out war, and the Baltimore Key Bridge could be a linchpin in that war. So this is Trump and the GE. Baltimore Key Bridge could trigger war between Trump and Westmore. Thank you.